course, the Science of Mind magazine, the daily guides. As I mentioned, the magazine's been in print for almost 100 years, 1927. So we're kind of approaching the 100 years. And it's helped a lot of people along the way. It's helped me too. And my browser is not helping me, actually, because it's doing its usual wacky thing. I think I need a new mouse. I think that's the whole top and bottom of it. Well, I don't know about you, but today's been a busy day. It still is. So let's get on with it. This is called a wreath of benediction, a wreath of benediction, or blessing, if you like. A talent is formed in stillness, a character in the world's torrent. That's Goethe, the great German philosopher from a few hundred years ago. Let me read that again. A talent is formed in stillness, a character in the world's torrent. So in other words, we can develop our talents on our own, reading, etc., practicing, and so on and so forth. But our characters don't just kind of happen. We're born with basic characters, yes, but what he means is that we develop strength of character only when we go through trials. And this is what Ernest Holmes has got to say on the subject. If we, oh, my browser keeps doing wacky things. I'll tell you what, this browser is giving me plenty of opportunity to be patient. If we entertain the idea of peace long enough, this is what Ernest Holmes says, we shall become peaceful. No, this is silly. I can't even read it now. I'm really not sure what's going on. This thing is kind of wacky. Oh, well, we're almost there. No, we're not. Excuse me. As I said, my browser has just gone kind of wacky, and let me just refresh it, see what happens. Oh, no, it's making me log in again, so bear with me. Well, oh no. I really don't know what my browser's doing here. It's just gone kind of wild and wonderful. Hold on. We're almost there. Bear with me. Okay, where were we? Well, the mouse really is. Keep your fingers crossed. As I said, this thing is giving me plenty of opportunity. Let me start again. If we entertain the idea of peace long enough, we shall become peaceful. When we know freedom, freedom is ours. It so happens in our lives that as we gradually discard and do away with the discord, harmony then sits like a wreath of benediction on our brows. And I'm not sure how you have a wreath of benediction on our brows, but I guess it's the old, like, Olympic thing. Can we, in the midst of the crowd, as Emerson said, keep, quote, with perfect sweetness, the independence of our solitude, unquote. Ernest Holmes goes on to say, as we walk the sidewalks of the city, can we stop seeing that which we no longer wish to experience and mentally embody only those ideas that we do wish to experience? This is what practice is. And he's called Think Your Troubles Away, pages 122 123 and 124. Think your troubles away. Let's see what Reverend Jesse's got to say about this before I come in with my 10 cents worth. Before now, we may have just let our minds wander and our emotions be moved around by the passing parade of events. Consequently, we manifested randomness even in chaos. Today, we're learning to bring a made-up mind to life, one conviction at a time, picking up new skills of creative imagination and proactive gratitude. Spiritual practice is just what it sounds like: repetition, tweaking, more repetition. It's enjoyable once we get in the habit. The key is to start from right where we are, with the very next thought and the one after that. Is there something to forgive? Let's not defer it, but work with the faces and situations as soon as they come to mind. It gets easier. Maybe. While we pile up fewer resentments and regrets when we don't condemn in the first place, it's just like physical exercise, which is more useful when paired with a balanced diet and ample rest. And I can tell you, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think Reverend Jesse's into the first one there, which is a lot of physical exercise, but I could be wrong. And I don't know. But anyway, this is my interpretation of all that. When we are consciously aware of what we're thinking, then when we start to realize that negative stuff is in our heads, we immediately turned away from it into something positive. We don't say it isn't there, but what we do say is, I don't want that. And we start thinking about what we do want. And we keep repeating that. And what Reverend Jesse is saying is that as we do more of our spiritual work, it gets easier and easier to recognize what's going on in our heads and to do something about it. And as Ernest Holmes said, once we start to focus in our minds on what it is that we do want, and when we realize something that we don't want's coming up and we get rid of it, then we're going to start getting more and more in our lives of what it is that we really do want. So in other words, do your spiritual work, live in awareness. And when a negative idea or thought comes up, zap it and go towards something positive. It's that simple. But like a lot of simple things in life, guess what? It isn't always easy, is it? It isn't always easy. All right. When things are fairly well explained, I don't really need to go into any great depth about it, so I'm not going to do. So live in awareness. When negative stuff comes up, zap it, replace it with something positive. And do your spiritual work every day. Do a bit of quiet time, do some good readings, maybe listen to some good stuff like this. And guess what? Pass it on to other people, because you really, really do gain when you pass good stuff onto other people. So that is all I'm going to say. I'm going to stop now and just say, have a great rest of the day. Remember the people, if you're listening to this on the 9th of October, or even a few days after that, remember the people in the eastern part of the US, and especially remember the people in Florida, because my God, they're going to go through another hurricane in some places, and in a lot of places this could be a mess. So the more of us who treat and see help coming and being there and protection for people, the more that will happen. And that's exactly another dimension from what we're talking about here. So we're seeing good stuff happening to other people in our minds. And when we're joined to all the other minds, it becomes a very powerful thing. And we really can produce miracles. So remember, Reverend Lisa will be on tomorrow morning, 9:30. I will be back tomorrow morning, I think, around about 5. I don't see anything on the horizon that should get in the way, but you never know. So hopefully I'll see you about 5 o'clock Central Time tomorrow. So until then, namaste.